Fox 16 News at 5:30 starts now.
We do feel the Supreme Court right now is upholding democracy and the rule of law.
A proposed amendment to expand abortion access in the state is now getting a second chance at the November ballot. Hello, and thanks so much for joining us for Fox 16 News at 5:30. I'm Jessica Rank. Late last night, the state Supreme Court issued an order to the Secretary of State's office to quickly count all petition signatures submitted by volunteers. Neil Zarang is live from the Arkansas Supreme Court. Neil, walk us through a little bit about the deadline we're looking at right now.
Jessica, the Secretary of State's office just over at the state capitol. Right now they're counting a lot of ballot initiatives, but they just got their most pressing deadline from the Arkansas State Supreme Court, 9 a.m. on Monday. They have to count all the volunteer signatures collected for the abortion amendment ballot initiative. The Arkansas State Supreme Court has ordered the Office of Secretary of State John Thurston to do so just for the signatures gathered by volunteers by 9 a.m. Monday, and over 90,000 valid signatures are necessary to meet that threshold. Thurston's office and Arkansans For Limited Government, who is behind the proposed amendment, have been debating how many signatures count shortly after they were turned in on the July 5th deadline. A little over 100,000 signatures were submitted, but Thurston rejected more than 14,000 because he said they came from paid canvassers, stating the advocacy group had not turned in the legally required paperwork alongside the signature submissions. Even though they say they turned in what was requested the very next day, the Secretary of State rejected that too. The group then sued to override the decision, which leads us to what happened last night.
We do feel that this Supreme Court decision is upholding Arkansas law and Arkansas Constitution, and I think more importantly, it's upholding the will of the 101,000 people that have signed this petition. You know, we're especially grateful to the volunteers, and like their hard work has now been sort of verified by the Supreme Court, which is really exciting.
It depends on
whether or not those other signatures that were collected by the paid members count towards that 90,000 is still out of the window. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin is representing the state in court. Today we received a statement which says, "I am pleased with Arkansas Supreme Court's narrow order. AFLG failed to meet all legal requirements to have the signatures collected by paid canvassers counted, a failure for which they only have themselves to blame." We called the Secretary of State's office, which simply said the Secretary of State's office has seen Arkansas Supreme Court's order and will comply with that directive. Another part of that order, 3 of the justices, a minority of the total of 7, thought that there should be an extension of 30 days for the advocacy group to collect additional signatures to meet that 90,000 threshold. But since it was a minority, that did not happen with the order last night. We'll have to see if the count that is collected Monday, if that changes any of their opinions. Reporting live in Little Rock, Neil Zarang. Back to you, Jessica.